It might just take a sec.
Yeah. It's taking a second. Oh, I see us.
How do you know if it's live? Because we are live right now. So
we're like live.
This is the most bad thing we've ever said or done. Watching ourselves on the screen, waiting for the screen to show us live.
We are live. Hey, everybody.
Oh, shit. There it is. I just heard a recording of myself saying stuff. That's awkward. Word.
We are live. We are doing a post-show live of the 9 at 9 episode number 17. So let's say what's up to everybody on the chat. We have
What up?
Mark's in the building. Twin Spin.
hey.
My man DJ PM was in here.
Too much echo, man.
Big Canyon.
Who else is on the chat? Hey, if you're in the chat, man, say what's up so we can say hi to y'all.
Yeah.
We haven't gone live with this in a long time.
I feel like we're back in season 1.
Midnight PM. What up?
Yo, Midnight.
Hey, what's up, guys?
In the chat.
Where you at?
Yeah, whoever else we got on the check-in, thank you for sticking around. So we haven't done it like this in a while, doing the full-on live situation. Thank you all for hanging out. What do you think? Well, there was a lot in that conversation, and we were over here waiting for the broadcast part to end, and so the live conversation can kind of start. But I know there was a lot of points that people were resonating with. Anybody have any like real big takeaways amongst the 5 of us or in the chat?
I can't see the chat.
Dude, turn on Twitch, man. Maybe put it on your phone. Like turn on the Twitch app and just.
Yeah, I got the chat up on my phone next to me.
I have it on like a computer. So
Show you my rookiness.
To answer your question, I just realized how really addicted I am to social media. Like I just, it's hard for me to put my phone down. I'm always on Instagram and like. I think I also struggle, like you were saying, like defining whether or not I'm there to scroll around or actually do something productive.
Yeah, man. Having a concrete separation is real.
You know that whole work mode, personal mode, man. I have that on Facebook. I have like my personal Facebook, and then I have like sort of my DJ. So everybody on my personal Facebook are like my close. Immediate family, close friends, you know, just people I want to follow, and then like everybody on the Geometrics are like basically like all my fans, and you know, back in the day, all my guest list people, all the promoters, all the, you know. So that's how I keep as on the Facebook side of things. I just keep everything separate, you know.
Keep it completely a line in the sand in the middle.
Yeah, I just keep all the people I care about on my personal Facebook, and that's like I only have like maybe 200 people in there. You know, versus to like I think my other Facebook has like over 4,000 some.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
And then you also have your professional Fisher Instagram account too, Fisherman account too.
Gio is the master of the multiple identities. That you had a beer one before for a while.
Yeah,
craft beer.
I used to have a craft beer until the gout caught up with. Too much craft beer, man. It's bad for
Yeah, I definitely think you know, when you're pressured into being on social media too, it's I think you're as a DJ or creative, you're stuck in needing to be on. Know what's going on, feel that you're connected in some way, and then
I think your beat is going way too loud.
I'm trying to turn it down.
Chris just gotta speak
Just
up.
so you know, it's really live. It's actually live because we're doing all the troubleshooting stuff that nobody ever gets to see except for the 5 of us happening on the fly.
This is actually the first time we're using this broadcasting the streaming service, so it's pretty dope. So
yeah,
I like it. Yo, if anybody in the chat want to join in.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were going to throw that link in there for the chat. So if people want to jump into the conversation.
If anybody wants to like join. convo. Do we want to do that, Chris?
Sure.
Let's post up the link and just get some people into the.
Yeah. Midnight's trying to come through. So we
Come through, my dude. Baltimore represent. And ladies and gentlemen, our associate producer, Doc Blust, right here. He's in real after party mode with the blue light and the guitar and all.
In the house.
There we go. So we got that link that Geometrics just dropped into the chat. If you click on that link, then you will get pulled into the broadcast that we're on, and Geo can bring you online if you want to ask a live question and conversate with us after party style. Also, this way, it's a lot easier to figure out once we're all done here who we're going to raid to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, who's online right now? We have Motown. We have Motown on Mondays. We got Flips. We got DJ Fierce is online. Neil Armstrong.
Yeah, DJ Fly, Motown, The Furious 619. Caution, it's heavy. Yeah, how about this? I'll go through. I'll put together a little bit of a list. My homie Great Dane 35 is on right now. My man Money Green. It is a busy Monday out here. There we go.
Who else is on the chat? Say what's up.
Yeah. As one, I think the volume is sounding good right now. What do you guys think?
Is it at a good level?
His mic is low, but like the music is like. I mean, you could probably turn it a bit.
Turn it down.
The music's good where it is, but bring your mic up a little bit.
You can probably bring the music up a little too.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Now we're in the listening room. I like it.
Like that?
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
And then Adrian's a little too loud.
Yeah.
Lad.
So here's the important part. But now we gotta like remember these settings for every other time. But do it live. All right, yeah. So back to the discussion we were having earlier. Chris was saying the same thing I was saying. Seeing that line of these big media companies are in the business of selling our dopamine. Once I really like sat with that thought. What's up, puppy? Once I sat with that thought for a minute, I was like, oh, this is terrifying. This is like really messing my head up. And what up, anonymous puppy holder?
Anonymous puppy holder. He said, what's up?
Sounds like a good.
What up, wife?
It's a mighty big ring you got over there. I'm not going to call it your name. Yeah, girl.
You're actually an anonymous puppy holder. Instagram.
What?
That would be a really good Instagram. And all they
He's sitting on a gold mine now.
All you just do is you just post puppy pictures. And all you see is her hands on the little puppy. So all you ever see of anonymous puppy is the.
So basically, it's an Instagram for like people that have
holding small puppies.
You have to have those people that go around asking to hold people's small puppies up.
Anonymous puppy holder. I'm signing up right now.
Shut up and take my money.
What else do you guys want to talk about?
How about that election? Too soon? Too soon?
Hey, I just saw
if you're listening to this and you haven't voted, you better get up early.
I just saw a stat that 72% of the 2016 election has already voted right now.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
Wow. And, with tomorrow, I think they're projecting there's going to be probably maybe 30, 40 million more people voted in this election than last one.
Stakes is high.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. So,
but there's still like what 200 million people that are allowed to vote, and
like what was it? Like it was like 2016 had like a little bit over 100 million people vote. So it was a split between Trump and
like 50% of the population doesn't vote, something like that.
Yeah,
the stats are really, really bad.
It's actually really terrible. But
what was the percentage?
It's exactly what that's the definition of voter suppression, though.
Oh, we got PM. We got midnight PM.
Midnight PM. What up, sir? My
Sean J,
mellow, my
how you
man.
doing,
Good to
man?
see you, sir.
You too,
G-
man. It's been a
Guys,
long
this is the
time.
homie PM from Baltimore as well.
Peace.
How you holding up, homie?
Hanging in there. You know how it is. Working from home primarily right now. I'm not out getting, so every so often I'll try and just do something here locally, stream online a bit, but hoping to one day get back out there. Hoping this can all go away soon. Hoping that we get a competent administration in. I said it.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
That's real. But well, I'm glad you're still in the isolation station for the time being.
Hey, do what I can, man. Do what I
Yeah,
can.
we need leadership to like really give every single state, every single local government a standard procedure of how to proceed with life, going back to normal.
Indeed.
Need that, so that way we can definitely start getting back to where it is before. So
You know, it just came back to my memory. So my man PM is much like myself, a big tech nerd, and you were probably the first person to go all in on the live streaming thing like a year ago, and just kind of kept it going. So have you been doing any live streaming since COVID hit? Because you were on this way before anybody else in our area.
Oh yeah, so I remember like back when we were doing the Tuesday nights and the Wednesday nights, coming out there and doing.
Yeah, we
full
had these
streaming
Baltimore
setup.
DJ link ups, and he was like live streaming at his gigs and at the link ups.
Yeah. So I was, and then something unfortunate happened. My streaming computer decided to have its BIOS go corrupt.
Ooh.
So it is pretty much a giant paperweight sitting in my basement right now until I figure out either A, how to flash that BIOS by hand, or
I got a
replace
few
the
of
whole
those.
thing.
You're in good
Hey,
company
that's
because we all
right.
feel your pain.
So yeah, that one hurt a little bit. And I've tried other solutions like I've tried using my phone, but then I get line noise coming through, so that doesn't work out. I've tried using another laptop. Not another laptop, excuse me, a older small form factor PC I have hanging around, but unfortunately, it's
That's
literally
awesome,
too slow to keep up. Its internal GPU cannot do hardware encoding, so OBS just doesn't work out on that machine. So I'm looking at other solutions. I can figure something out right now, but it's a bit of a pain point. I
don't mean to bring up the sensitive subjects. I know how much time that takes. I'm
it's
right
all
there with
good.
it.
It's all good, man. I am, this is I had a solution. I had a working workflow for upwards of 2 years now, doing stuff either at gigs or on my own, or at home here, but things changed and it's thrown me a curveball, as has much of 2020. So I've just got to figure out a way to work around that like I always do.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Indeed. So first I want to say thanks for having me on. It's interesting to meet some of you. I've actually known some of you by name, but I've never met many of you in person. Like I've seen As One online a lot. Stylist Chris, I've seen you online a little bit. But this is admittedly the first time I'm seeing yourself, Metrics, yourself, Doc Blust over there. So I want to say thanks for having me on. It's good to be on with you all here.
Yeah, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, thanks
I
for
loved
contributing to the
everything you were saying in
conversation.
the chat too during the show.
Yeah, that was hitting me a little bit close to home there.
Yeah.
All of us, man. Every week when we do these shows, every week it always kind of goes like, all right, this is the reason why we're doing this. We see the reactions and the conversations coming off of this. I was even looking at like Instagram comments I was seeing from previous episodes yesterday, and just going like, this is absolutely a thing that's resonating with people. We got to keep this going,
Understandable.
But it's a lot of work. So Geometrics and Doc Blust, we appreciate you.
Yo, PM.
Yeah.
Like, is there any like topics or subjects that we should probably, touch on like for future episodes that you want us to see?
So one thing you mentioned is actually, I'm gonna break out into something you were speaking on a little bit earlier, which was you started touching in on a little bit of the mental health aspect, but it was more, of course, the focus of today's episode was about social media, but breaking away from just social media by itself, diving more deeper into the mental health. So if I may, I want to just dive into something of a little bit of a personal experience here. So I met Sean, DJ Sean J, Sean Johnson. How do you want to call me, man? I met
Hey
him
man,
about.
I'm 100% open. I don't care what people call me as long as they don't call me something offensive.
What was
Hey,
it?
all respect, man. All
DJ Black
Fine.
Magic, man.
Sanjay, what did you call him
Son of
earlier?
a bitch.
Sanjay.
Sanjay.
So, like,
Sanjay.
I met this guy. I want to say about it's got to be almost 3 years ago now through another DJ here. They're actually in the same group together. Sounds of Baltimore.
Mhm.
The homies.
Yeah, I met these guys through a guy by the name of DJ Rocky Styles.
Rocky Styles.
Yeah, actually by whim. At the time, I'd been DJing for 9 years, so this is roughly 2017 at this point, and I was in a place where I hadn't been gigging for a while regularly, just taking some stuff here and there, primarily doing some clubs here and there, some bar gigs and whatnot, and I was at that stage where I wasn't really feeling it so much anymore, kind of in a bit of a low period, and I happened to log in on Facebook one day, one of the rare days that I actually did. It was a Tuesday night, and Rocky Styles had posted in this one group that he was hosting a meetup. Like, come out, open tables, bring your laptop, bring your hard drives, come out and play. So I did. And Rocky and I got to talking after I played. I threw down one of my very eclectic sets way back then. It was all over the place, but generally speaking, when I do that, I tend to have a flow that goes with it, but it's not usually within the same dynamic of sticking within one single, I'm not even going to say genre, but one single mood or flow. I'm moving all over the place, whether it be rock, hip hop, R&B. Hell, I'll even throw back to some D&B if I got to. So, what happened? Hey, rock those 180 BPM tracks all day. What ended up happening is we were talking, and it's interesting because I was actually considering at the time selling off a lot of my equipment and retiring from DJing as a whole. And Rocky was like, "No, don't do that. Just keep going with it." And after a bit, I was doing something. He actually invited me out to one of his gigs. That was at a spot here that unfortunately recently closed due to the pandemic.
Which one was that?
That was Ram's Head down to Savage.
Oh, got you. Yeah. Rest in peace, Ram's Head.
Rest in peace, Ram's Head. So that one went down. And he also invited me up to this spot that he does up north of Baltimore in an area of Maryland called Bel Air, which is
the Bel Air situation. Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up doing a couple of cover shows from him, like he couldn't, where he may be double booked or he had something else to do or he just wanted the night off, covering for him down to Ram's Head and covering for him up at Bel Air, which then turned into one day he invited me out to do a guest spot with him on an 80s night. I played that guest spot, and 20 minutes later, I had a new Saturday night.
Nice.
So that's how that goes, and that's how I got my foot in the door at Looney's Pub. And then after an unfortunate situation happened, it ended up turning into a Thursday night residency as well. So I was doing pretty much Looney's Pub every Thursday and every other Saturday. That was kind of a bit of a blow up because it had gone from me, considering leaving the business for a while to I just had the best year of DJing in a very long time.
With regular residencies coming out of it. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I'm interacting, I'm meeting up with a lot of these DJs here. And, leading up into March this year, I'm thinking I'm about to have an even better year than last. And then this hit. And one thing you talked about was loneliness, and it's interesting that you started going down that road because I started thinking about some of the stuff I've been thinking.
This happened. COVID.
We'll do
What
it
a sound
live.
effect! What a sound! So I started
stop with
going
that.
down,
Sorry.
It's all good. I started going down and thinking about some of the stuff I went through last year because at the same time, while I had my best year of DJing last year, both objectively and financially, I started looking at my situation. I work full time. I'm DJing part time as well. When I'm not, and that's just actively gigging. That's
Yeah.
not taking the time to do the research, to find music, deal with having to do the social media thing because and as Sean knows, I can't stand social media. We've had this conversation in full. I didn't
We've
have
definitely
an
had that
IG
conversation.
I didn't even have an IG account until last year. So for me, this is where my chats
How old are
were
you?
coming from.
How old?
I'm in my 30s, man. I'm
Your
coming
30s?
up on 32 as of in a couple of months.
That's
So
pretty surprising, man. Like you're
30.
that young and you didn't get IG
look,
until like
so
last year.
yeah, I have to go back for me. So when I first launched into social media, this was back in the MySpace days,
Oh, yeah.
'05.
Oh
and
yeah, the
Those were
olden
the
the
days.
old
Those
MySpace
were
days.
those were
And,
For my first song.
days.
and I got to be honest with you, I couldn't stand MySpace. I really couldn't. So after about a year and a half, 2 years of MySpace, I stopped using it. And I didn't have
It's
any
too
social media
confusing to
presence
use.
whatsoever. And a friend of mine wouldn't leave me alone. He said, "Are you gonna get a Facebook? You're gonna get a Facebook?" For 2 years, this dude hounded me to get a Facebook, and I finally broke down and got one 2 years later. And initially, it was okay because I'm like, okay, I can keep up with people I know on the West Coast. I can keep up with people I know on the East Coast, Florida, DC, Maryland, Cali. It's all good, all around. But over time, it just got more and more toxic. And then Twitter hit, and Twitter was okay for a bit, and then Twitter just became a cesspool. And it was interesting because I'm at an HBCU, but a lot of people in my HBCU didn't really jump on the Twitter chain. That was more, you saw that more at a lot of PWIs. So
That's kind of like what
What-
Ku was saying on tonight's episode, that like people just kind of go on there and like get their shit off as far as like
And they
I'm
did.
talking shit about a particular celebrity or news story or whatever. Twitter definitely had that moment where if you weren't contributing memes or arguments, then there was really not much else going on for a while.
No, for the longest time. So I stopped using Twitter for a minute. I last used Twitter really, really using it in 2012. I was living in DC at the time, was trying to break into the DC club scene, learned the hard way of just how cutthroat it is out there,
Yes.
and moved on. But I really just hated it because what I would start seeing a lot is like a lot of promoters and even club managers are going around saying like, how many followers do you have? How many likes do you have on your post? How many friends do you have on Facebook? And it's not even so much that they wanted to really find out that, but they were like, how much reach can I get if I tell you to go repost this for me? And they
Right.
would start to look more for DJs who had those kinds of things. And I said to myself, I can't stand this. I don't want to be a part of that. I'm not going to do it. So I had my own residency at the time. I wasn't worried about it. I had a Friday night and a Saturday night. I didn't care. But what I've noticed recently has been kind of a bit of a resurgence in that, not so much from the aspect of how many likes or how many followers or how many friends you have, though I do still see that pop up every so often with a lot of the less scrupulous promoters and managers, which we all know are out there. But what I see more is the brand aspect where everybody presents a brand of themselves on IG or Twitter or Facebook. And as someone who never really liked it from the get go, to me, that just feels emotionally exhausting. A lot of work that I have to put in that I just do not want to exercise the effort of having to do on top of everything else that I already do. So working full time, then DJing as well. What started to hit me really last year, and Sean, this is why we had the conversation about eating habits, is I realized I was tired.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I would work, and then like say for example, if it was a Thursday night, I'm going to work. After just doing the Tuesday night, we just had the meetups, and Wednesday nights, I might go down and shoot down to Ruin to support the guys down there, or then it's Thursday. So I go to work, I leave work at maybe like 5:30, 6 o'clock. I go home, I eat what I can, maybe stuff something in, maybe I pick something up on my way back. I'm packing up my car now, and I'm doing is shooting up in rush hour traffic to drive 45 minutes to an hour to across 2 counties to get to my gig. Um, there till 1:30, 2 in the morning, pack up, go home, back home by 2:45, 3 o'clock. Um, Trying to balance out, driving maybe a little bit faster than with not getting pulled over. God forbid if it's snowing.
Yeah, that's a whole nother factor we haven't even gotten into yet.
Oh, I could tell you a story about one time I got pulled over in Harford County. But
We can come back to that
we
though.
can come back to that.
I got a lot of stories like that.
Yeah.
One of which I woke up in West Virginia not knowing that I was on.
Oh, what the fuck?
Whoa.
All right, we're gonna come back to that
We're
too.
gonna get back there too.
So PM, yeah, keep going. So I think I see where you're going with this, where there's
So,
that like the day starts or the week starts, and then you end up in this gauntlet of gigs.
Exactly. So it was like 3:00. I get back home. I have to unload my car because God forbid we leave anything in our cars. Even if you're in the nicest of neighborhoods, anything can happen. Hell, even I've had my handles pulled one night. So I wake up like 9 in the morning.
Knucklehead kids.
All day, man. Wake up, roll out of bed, get ready for work, go to work, log off, and then it's the weekend time. So we got the Friday nights, the Saturday nights, and
this
then
is starting on Tuesday, basically.
Yeah, and then all you have left is Sunday, and by Sunday I was dead. And then all I can do is just recover and go back to work Monday. And what I started realizing a lot is that two things were happening. All my life was pretty much circling around work, DJ, work, DJ, work, DJ.
Yeah, man.
And like we talk about, we might want to have friends come out to gigs and whatnot, but truth be told, most of the time they can't, or they're not going to drive, like for my case, 45 minutes to come across from Baltimore to Harford County. Or even just generally outside of that, I started to see a lot of my personal relationships suffer. And so I'm saying to myself, I'm doing great DJing, but I haven't really seen anybody in like a year. And don't get me wrong, Sean, like hanging out with you guys is great. We all love the music that we do, but the personal toll is heavy.
Yeah.
So as I was saying to myself earlier, I started looking at myself, how I was eating, how I was processing things, and my stress level was extremely high. It still is high, but in a different way now than it was then, just because of the sheer amount of stuff I was carrying and having to do. And the mental toll that takes as well, particularly as men, we're told, we got to be strong, we got to be stoic, we got to be we can't show signs of emotion, we can't show signs of weakness. And as black men in particular, it's looked down upon for us to show any kind of weakness. We got to be ready to work, fight, everything. If you so much as crack, that's game
Don't
over.
ever let them catch you slipping. Exactly.
Don't ever. So, and particularly being up there in Harford County, oh man, it is a toll sometimes depending on the night. So with what kind of crowd may come in, especially if you're working with a band. So I had come to a point where I said to myself, I am exhausted, I'm tired, I'm stressed, and damn, I got to change something here. And it was interesting, the timing of this pandemic, because it hit me in my pockets, obviously, because I'm not gigging, but at the same time, it's like I just got sleep for the first time on a Saturday, and
it feels wonderful, doesn't it?
And trying to balance that out is an interesting thought exercise.
Does it feel hard to see yourself going back to that grind that you were on before?
I don't know if it feels hard so much, but I do wonder if I might have to approach it different. Like, I can't keep doing the same, 45, 50-hour work weeks and still trying to DJ at the same time. So one of those is going to have to suffer, but then does that mean my personal career suffers at the same time? I can't have that happen either. I remember one time last year.
That's the question I had to ask myself when I went full-time DJing. Like, this was like 15 years ago, because I had like a full-time job.
Much respect to anybody who holds down a DJ residencies with a day job full-time, 40 hours or 40 plus hours. I can't do it.
It got to the point where it's like, I asked myself, like, because at that time I was getting actually almost the same amount of like money that I was making at my desk job. I used to do IT and a lot of data, back-end database, creating like, user interface with like a lot of like active server pages. I used to do websites too for
ASP. So we're talking like 04, 05.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
SQL Server.
Yeah. I have my experience in that road. I understand.
Yeah, that was 15 years ago. It's like that's like a relic now, I guess. That technology, that technology. But yeah, I had to make a decision. It's like all right, I'm losing sleep. I'm like not performing well at my day job, but I love like DJing so many like nights. So I had to like make the call. It's like all right, it's time to quit corporate America and just
I
and
think what
jump in.
really has allowed me to balance it more so than anything else is the fact that I do have the flexibility to work from home on Fridays, and I have some flexibility to work around that as well. Because honestly, if like especially just walking in the door at 3 o'clock in the morning and going to sleep maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock a.m. and then having to roll out of bed 9, 10 a.m. in the morning. If not for the fact that I wouldn't have to deal with the commute of driving into work, parking, walking into the office, and dealing with that on maybe 3, 4 hours of sleep. Fridays it just wouldn't work for me. But because even though I was kind of working tired, I could still sleep an extra hour, not have to worry about commuting in. That went a long way. But at the same time, maybe do that once, twice, 3, even 4 times. But it starts taking a toll over time. And it's both physical and mental. And it's the funny thing because initially I wasn't even really feeling the mental toll until several months in, and it really hit me in combination, I think, with the physical factor, the emotional factor, and the factor of just that loneliness I was hitting from not having the personal interactions and
No
relationships
social
with everybody else.
no social grounding
None.
at that point, right?
None. So at that point, I started to say to myself, "This is really interesting." And not originally being from Baltimore, you guys talked about a lot of the relationships as well. Like I'm not originally from Baltimore, so a
Where are you
lot of
originally
my
from? I
friends.
didn't know that.
Nope, not originally from Baltimore. So originally I come from the Bay Area of California.
Oh man, you
Uh,
need to be on Twitch then.
Went from Bay to Miami. Went from Miami back and forth to Los Angeles. Went to school in LA, then came out to Baltimore for finishing things up, and been here since.
Got you.
So I don't have a lot of those like 20 plus, 25 plus year relationships where we've known each other since grade school, but people to
Right.
fall back on here.
Right.
All of my
Yeah.
relationships have
That
been
makes
formed
sense.
pretty much since college. And a lot of those don't even, very few of them, I can count on maybe one hand, have that kind of knowledge of me. And even then, it's still limited because they didn't necessarily
They got
grow
their
up
own
with me.
lives. Yeah.
And so they have their own lives. We're talking people in their 20s, 30s.
At that
So
age,
for
you
me,
got kids,
I'm
man.
having to balance that out as well. And that's hitting me extra hard. So there's a lot, I think, that goes into the mental aspect of this. And then you throw on social media on top of it. And it's like I said in the chat, I swear Facebook is FOMO as a platform.
It
where
is.
You see everybody else doing these things.
Let me hit pause for 1 second.
Yep. Go ahead.
I wanna touch on something you were talking about, and maybe give a little perspective. But in a simplistic way, you can put DJs in 3 different boxes. You can put them in either the box that started at a young age, never really had a real job, and was just making their way through by just DJing, and whether they were living at mom's house and then got successful enough to get out of mom's house and have an apartment, and they just live their life as a DJ. They sleep till 3 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon. They get up, whatever. That's a very small percentage, but a percentage of DJs that have that uniqueness to start like that. But at a certain age, they're gonna hit a.
There's a wall there.
There's gonna be a wall, and it's either I'm too old to DJ, no one wants me anymore, or they get into, you see them go down nasty path of drugs and alcohol and just partying so hard they just fall off the map. There's a second kind that start probably similar to your path, where you're in school, you might have started dabbling with DJing, it's a hobby, then you're doing your actual career that you went to school for. At the same time, you're trying to chase this other career too, and you're trying to always kind of balance the two out. And at some point, like Gio, who falls into that you either say, I either got to give up one or the other, because it becomes really hard to do both. And most people you can see that, hey, I can make as much money DJing. Well, I'm going to go over here.
Right.
And then there's the ones that start somewhere in between that of maybe have a job, but not, maybe it's a music job. Maybe it's they have a job, but it's always still catered around their DJ life. And then you hit a certain age when you try to be responsible and have a family
or worker dude
and get into raising kids. How do you balance that life of being a DJ and trying to be a family guy? Point of all this is at the end of the there's time is what you're always fighting. Time is what you're always trying to balance.
It's the one commodity you'll never have any return on.
And so basically everybody's in the same boat, no matter which of these three that your kind of path career brought you to. And I think I do it myself.